You talking ship? You talking ship? You talking ship? Wait a minute, you talking ship? Yeah. So there is that studio exec that made the statement about keeping the strikes going until people start losing their apartments and their homes, and then they'll start negotiating at that point. It's disgusting, to say the least. I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Right.
It broke my heart when I heard it. It put me in a rough space for about 3 days because I had already sort of been suspicious of that.
Right.
And then for someone to actually say it, it's just
the quiet part out
it's
loud.
unfathomable, you know. I think we've been edging closer and closer to losing human compassion for many, many years, and every generation has said it more and more and more. Our parents' generation said it, you know, about us, and then, you know, their parents probably before them. But we're getting into a space now where there's no sort of live and let live. It's just going to be the hyper rich and the uber poor.
Right.
There's going to be no middle class. And America is at its best when we have a strong middle class. It was proven over and over again in the Clinton years, you know, early 90s
back
and
in
stuff.
FDR,
You can, FDR days, you know what I'm saying? You can go back and look at history. When our middle class is strongest, the world does better as a whole.
Yeah.
So I'll say that first. There's always going to be changes throughout history, with technology sort of leading the charge. You know, horses became passe because of Henry Ford, right? And because of the locomotive and all of these things. So it's going to always happen. Evolution's always going to happen.
Yeah. How does this industry evolve?
How does this, and that's what I'm getting to. I don't have the answer to that.
Right.
But I do know that this industry was built on passion, on inspiration, and that passion and that inspiration specifically, it came from ideas. And ideas are connected to living, breathing human beings. So when you factor out human beings from the dream process, I think you're in a really dangerous sort of, you're treading in dangerous waters at that point.
Dystopian fake
Connection
world.
is ultimately the most important thing that we have in the arts. So you mean to tell me instead of sculptures, we're just going to use 3D printers for everything now? Where's the craftsmanship there? You know,
Where's
this
the
was
skill
not.
of the
Where's the
labor?
skill? Where does skill matter? And ultimately, you know, these production companies and stuff are you know, they're bottom line guys, and it's about profits. You know, but at that point, they won't need anybody to do their jobs either, because you could use a digital project manager too. So where's the stopping point?
Right.
You know,
Right.
Someone being able to say that they want me in this movie and being able to order it right then and there. And I'm hearing, you know, I could be 10 places at one time and I can make 75 cents on the dollar. I'm hearing all the proposals that they're making and stuff like that. And that sort of stuff is going to just pander to those who have an appetite for greed. I don't need to be 10 places at one time. I enjoy hard work. To a point, we want nepotism to help us in business and all that stuff. Of course, relationships is how we do it. But you have a relationship with a human being, though.
Right.
I'm really scared of this. And I think that ultimately, at some point, there's going to be nothing that we can really do about it, and it probably will take over. But then actors will be non-existent, writers will be non-existent, because people are already creating avatars and creating new actors and AI and stuff like that. And I can already take a picture of me and you, put it together and be like, hey, this is what our baby would look like.
Right. Yeah,
We can already
like
do that.
Yep.
So there will be no new actors. There won't be any writers. Chat GP scared the shit out of me the first time I ever saw it. I was like, yo. So not only are we in a time where, like, I think we're probably the last group of high school students that had to do works cited pages, because then Google took over, right?
Yeah.
So you're not forcing people to have to think anymore, and you're creating a bunch of slaves, a bunch of sheep. You know, I hate that terminology, but that's what it is, because these people are going to be completely dependent on technology in order to handle their everyday lives, and that's just not a world that I want to live in. I think there's something important about us having to connect with each other and have our ideas go pen to pad and create something. There's something beautiful about the you know, the idea of that becoming tangible.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, and before we go, like the last things I like to always do on the show is make sure that we leave each of our viewers with like some advice. Because I mean, we've talked about a lot of stuff, but I'd say the first thing is, how do you balance personally these wearing all these different hats, and obviously we've talked about some of the through lines, but how do you keep that balance, and then also your personal life and stuff too? Like what do you do to?
I don't believe in balance. My family is from the Caribbean. You know, you got to have 15 jobs or you're lazy. You know what I mean? So, no, you know, I'm not one of those people that sort of works their finger to the bone anymore. I used to do that, and I was burning myself out in my mid-20s already because I was trying to work 60 and 80 hours a week in order to keep up or to make sure that I look like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I think it's really important for entrepreneurs or people that wear multiple hats to work hard on something for a designated amount of time. For me, it's every 3 months. I work hard for 3 months, and then I fuck off for a month, and I just do whatever I want. And then I work hard for 2 months, and then I chill for 2 weeks. And I work hard for 4 months or 6 months straight, and then I take 2 months off. You know what I mean? I think it's important to sort of ebb and flow your own life and create attainable goals and like say, hey, once I hit this amount of sales, I will have earned myself a week off. You know, that sort of thing has helped me be able to be more creative and not feel like I have 15 irons on the fire and none of them is being done well. Right. Because I'll take a few months at a time to focus on one thing and building that thing up and then putting people in place. Delegation is really, really, really important too. Yes. It's hard for me because I'm not a micromanager, but I'm hands-on. Big. I'm very hands-on, and I'm very like. I came from the restaurant world. I worked in restaurants for 12 years, and they have this saying in the restaurants: "Touch every plate." It's quality control and making sure that before you send a product out, it has a personal touch to it, and that you've personally inspected it. But I have now learned how to delegate people and bring people onto my team that have sort of the same. I would have you be, manage a project from if I could have ever afforded you, because I know that you have a certain attention to detail, and I know that I can trust you that it will be done thoroughly. Right. You know what I'm saying? So learning how to delegate is extremely important as well, and it takes a lot of trust and a lot of training as well. I think a lot of communication and talking about what your expectations are amongst you and your team. Nobody works for me; they work with me. Yes, I think that's an important mindset to have as well. They're not working in my fields. I'm working alongside them. I'm getting just as dirty, and so I think it's important to make people feel like they've got skin in the game when you are helping create vehicles that will hopefully provide for you and their families for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely, and I love to ask this question. I feel like you already basically answered it, but like the 3 qualities for the modern entrepreneurs of the world, right? For that you think everyone needs to kind of possess if they're going to get into this like production industry, if they are interested in getting into starting their own business, or they have some great idea they want to execute. What are those qualities? I guess we could nail it down to 3.
If I could try to whittle it down to 3, I would say number 1 is making sure that you know what you don't know and ask a lot of questions. I think too many people go into entrepreneurship thinking that they need to have all this shit figured out from the top. Yep. And that's just not the case. I ask questions about stuff I already know because my mom always says 1,000 ways to skin a cat, you know? And there's also something to be said about somebody teaching you something that you already know when they feel like they have had a hand in your success. I don't care who gets the credit as long as I get where I'm going. Oof. People will help you more when they feel like you need their help as well. So being honest about, hey, I need help, or I have a question here, or how do you do this? I usually do it like this, but I feel like there's an easier way to do it. And 9 times out of 10, I've found that I do find a better way of doing it. Yeah. So knowing what you don't know. If you're going to have a startup, take seed money. Please don't fund it yourself. OPM. If you don't have to, other people's money. Yeah. Oh my God. It's something that I would have loved to, know before starting a couple of my companies where I'm like, man, I wish I had accepted other people's money to help start this, but I didn't want to be responsible for losing it if it didn't go well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm very like big on like I don't like owing people nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big deal for me. But take the seed money and have an actual plan of action. Put your business plan together first. I don't care if it takes you a year or two, you know, but there's a lot of ways to get a business plan put together. I mean, there's a lot of online resources and stuff like that for somebody to help you with that. So have an actual plan of action, and don't just be like, hey, I have an idea, I'm just going to go do it. You know, it crashes and burns more often than not when you do it that way. And the last thing I would say is actually be invested in what you're doing. I think you should care about what you're doing and not just do it for money. Nothing I've ever done trying to make money has ever made me money and given me peace at the same time.
Woo!
When you actually
say that again, man.
Yeah.
That's so real.
When you actually care about what you're doing, God will always make a way for you. And you know, not to get spiritual on you or anything like that, but where God guides, He provides. You know, there's no dream that's inside of you that is not going to also bring you finance as well. So putting that plan together and having the delegation of responsibilities along with actually caring about what you do is always going to make room for you in this earth, you know?
That's dope, man. And I like how those three all tie together in a really cohesive way, because knowing what you don't know so that you can get that information, making sure you're prepared enough to go and feel comfortable to use other people's money and seed money, and then caring enough, because that's, I think, the big thing too with other people's money. I felt the same way, but I knew that if I took on that responsibility, that I better love and be willing to kill myself for this project, because now I have this additional responsibility. So those are really three dope ones. Now, before we go though, last time I want you to go ahead and just tell everybody where they can find you, man, forget because of SAG things. Let's not worry too much about what's coming out yet, unless you got something that you can. But
I do
yes.
actually.
Okay,
got a movie coming out August 4th called Till Death Do Us Part. It will be in AMC theaters everywhere. It is not part of the AMPTP. It is an independent project. Support indie filmmakers as well. Got a chance to do a great movie with Natalie Byrne and Timothy Woodard Jr., who I'm about to do another film with in Thailand later on this year. But the other projects that I have are coming out, and when we're done with this strike, we'll talk about those.
Yes.
But you can find me on Instagram at Ser'Darius Blain. I don't even know how to say my own name. You can find me on Instagram at Ser'Darius Blain, Ser'Darius Blain. On Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. Hit me up. I always try to respond back. You know, I'm not as cool as this guy over here. You know what I'm saying? I still see the message. They still pop to the top of mine. But they
all in my look.
Yeah.
I'm here to send the messages back. I appreciate you, man, for coming on. I'm gonna have to get on the next trip, man.
Come on, at Top Shelf Getaways too. We're on Twitter and Instagram and the TikToks and stuff. You won't catch me dancing on there, but you got to come on a trip. If you guys mention this show, I will give you 5% off of your trip.
Let's go.
You know, because this is the homie, and the homie is the plug. He's the plug. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
What's that thing they do? Just like this. I don't know how to do it. I'm not.
Man, guys, hey, thank you again, Ser'Darius Blain, for coming on Top Shelf Getaways. You know, thanks for coming on the ship, man. We out here setting sail.
You know, we just
talking ship,
talking a little ship,
talking a little ship, and whatnot. I appreciate you.
Talking ship to me.
Wait a second, was you talking ship? I appreciate you, brother, for real, man.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
There it is.
You know?
Bing bong.
I'm the founder, Ser'Darius Blain. I'm an actor and a producer. You may recognize me from movies like Jumanji, American Underdog, and shows like Fox's The Big Leap, but my main focus and my biggest passion is travel and hospitality. what's up, everybody? My name is Ser'Darius Blain. I am the founder of Top Shelf Getaways Travel Club. I want to invite you to come and travel the world with me and my friends. When I'm not acting, I like to indulge in the spirit of adventure, which is what we are known for. We like great food, we like great company, we like you to be with us and get to know us, and we like to kind of do everything in a way that's, it's all kind of summed up into one. What do I mean by that? All of your travel is completely included. All of your meals, all of your drinks, your excursions, hotel accommodations. All you ever have to do is just purchase your ticket, your plane ticket, and we'll do the rest.